Hello. Before I say anything, just crack the beer with me, folks. Just crack the beer with me. Oh my God. Start the chant. I-L-L. I-N-I. I-L-L. I-N-I. Illinois wins at the rack. First win at Rutgers since 2018. Illinois not only wins, but dominates Rutgers 76-58. I'm Cody. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you want to find me. You can follow me at Cody_CHGO. This is a milestone moment for this podcast, right? Like, this is the first major Illinois win of the year. Like, I was hoping that maybe it would have been Marquette, but it's against Rutgers, the first Big Ten win of the season. We're 1-0 in the Big Ten. We're undefeated in the Big Ten. Don't let me talk myself into a Big Ten championship. Don't let me talk myself into it. Illinois is 1-0 in the Big Ten. They're 1-0 on the road. That's the first road kill of the year. They had not played a road game yet until today. And not only, again, do they go to the rack and win, they win in dominating fashion for the most part. Was it a roller coaster in the first half? Yes. But whatever Brad Underwood said to these guys at halftime, they came out and said, "Hold my beer. We're finishing this game." Drink up, folks. What a win. Happy Saturday. We get to go in the rest of this night and watch this shitty Iowa-Michigan football game and hopefully get an under. What a game. What a game, folks. Terrence Shannon Jr., you are my king. You are my king. Bruh. You are my king. I-L-L, baby. I-L-L-I-N-I. No one is here to say it back to me, so I'm going to say it for y'all. I-N-I. I-L-L-I-N-I. Okay, that's enough. What a game, guys. From the first half, just the way they started. They started the game up, 14-2 run to start the game? Something like that. Rutgers made a run like we all knew they would. But Illinois in the second half stepped on their throats and never looked back. They got it within 3 points, as in Rutgers. And whatever happened at halftime, whatever Brad Underwood said to them, it worked because Illinois came out in the second half, not only kept hitting shots, but I felt like they took care of the ball a little bit better. They had 10 turnovers at halftime. I think they ended up having like 15 turnovers for the entire game. Let me look that up to make sure, because that's probably not true. Looking it up right now. They end up having 17 turnovers as a team. That's still bad. That's bad. But it was still less turnovers in the second half than the first half. First half, they had 10 turnovers, 7 turnovers in the second half. What negates those 17 turnovers? The fact that Rutgers went 12 of 20 from the free throw line, right? Cliff Amore had a terrible game, 7 points. He did other things. He had 9 rebounds. Somehow ended up with 8 blocks, which I totally did not count at all. So he was a factor defensively, but he himself had 5 turnovers. No one was in double digits for Rutgers at all. The closest was Hyatt with 9 points. All right. Illinois had 2 guys in double figures, Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Damask. TSJ, 23 points. And absolutely, it was probably one of my favorite TSJ games. One of my favorite TSJ games since he's came to Illinois. 23 points, 10 rebounds, 4-7 shooting from 3, 3 assists. And if there's one thing that I'll sit here and complain about, he had 5 turnovers. And that's probably the only thing I'm going to sit here and complain about this entire podcast is the fact that Illinois had 17 turnovers. But they made free throws. They were 7 of 11 from the free throw line today. That's better than a lot of games that they've had. All right. So it's baby steps. You still dominated a team on the road that plays very well at home over the years. That has played very well at home over the years. Just an absolute incredible win for Illinois. Great win for the program. A great start to the conference season. And this schedule for Illinois coming up is not easy, right? And we'll get into that in here in a little bit. But man, for everything that went wrong towards the end of the first half, to see them come back out in the second half and just like, it's almost like they turned the switch back on and never turned it off. They dominated the entire second half. So if you've been listening to this podcast over the, since it started back at the beginning of the year, I've complained a lot about missed free throws, turnovers, inconsistency from 3-point land. Those are my three things. Illinois did two of those three things well today. Like I said, they turned the ball over 17 times, but they shot 9 of 21 from three. That's about 42%. Can't complain about shooting 42% from three. They dominated the rebounding factor, which that has nothing to do with the three things that I've complained about, but I just wanted to mention that. They have 55 rebounds today compared to Rutgers 27. They dominated the boards. But anyway, they shot well from three, and if there's anything I'll complain about the free throws, it's just the fact that no one wanted to, like the refs didn't want to call any fouls for this team. They shot like 3 free throws in the first half. They got to the free throw line a little bit more in the second half, which was good to see. But 7 of 11 from the free throw line is better than some of these past games that they've had against some of these mid-major schools. So this has to be a huge confidence builder for this team. Has to be a huge confidence builder. If you've been following, you've been watching since I started this, like I've been down on this year's team because I don't feel good about the point guard situation. Ty Rodgers, he still didn't do anything today that made me feel great about him being the point guard. 5 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. He plays defense hard. He had a really nice steal to start the second half to, kind of steal something, like get that momentum going for Illinois to start the second half. That led to a dunk, fast break dunk. Like he does all these little things that I like him for. I just don't like him playing point guard, bro. Like there's got to be there before the end of this year, before they get into February. Someone else has got to be playing point guard for this team, unless something drastically changes. So I've already complained about 2 things when I said I wasn't going to complain at all, but whatever. It's just nice to win a road game against a good program, a team that has played well. They're 5-1 coming to this game. And as we've seen in the past, teams have gone to Rutgers and lost, like teams that were ranked higher, that were better, and they've gone to Rutgers and lost. Illinois just went to Rutgers and not only won, but won by double digits, won by 18 points. Okay. It was an incredible game. And again, I think the fact that they shot 9 of 21 from three is a big factor. The fact that Terrence Shannon Jr., when Illinois needed a basket, it felt like he found a way to make plays when Illinois needed it. He's the one guy on their team that you can just give the ball to, and he can go to the basket, get downhill, whether it's one-on-one or in the pick and roll, or he can step back, shoot that three. He isolated multiple times with the step-back three-pointer and hit it today. And as much as it annoys me sometimes, it's one of those where, no, and then it goes in, and you're like, yes. But for him, at least, he is at least doing things that he feels confident that is positive for the team. And I've said this as well. He's been one of the few guys that I haven't complained about at all. He started this season very, 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 very good for this Illini team. He's carried them. He carried them against Marquette, a game that they were underdogs at home, and they didn't win that game, but I felt like they played pretty well against the team that was, significantly better than them. This has to be a huge confidence boost. So I'm really excited right now about this win. I'm trying not to get too far ahead. I'm trying not to think big picture. Are there things they still need to improve upon? Absolutely. There's a lot that they need to work on. But as far as the Big Ten, as far as being players in the Big Ten, this is huge. Purdue just lost to Northwestern last night. There's That's big implications for Big Ten standings. I know it's December, but it's better to go on the road and win than to lose. And this is one that we'll look back at as like, if Illinois is a top 3 team in the Big Ten at the end of the year, we'll look back and be like, this win at Rutgers was huge. So I just want to bring up the Big Ten standings just to go through, like, because Big Ten, I don't want to say full on conference play started today because, or not today, but this week. But like some conference games started this week. Maryland and Indiana last night. Purdue, Northwestern was last night. And Northwestern and Illinois tied at the top with Indiana right now in the Big Ten. Again, just one game for each team. But it's better to be here than not, right? Purdue 0-1, Rutgers 0-1, and Maryland 0-1 now in the Big Ten. It's a good start. It's a good start, especially with the games that you have coming up. They have Florida Atlantic on Tuesday. Then they go to Tennessee, which I'll be at. All right. And then they come back home, play Colgate, and then they go to Mizzou or St. Louis and play Mizzou in the bragging rights game on December 22nd. Three of the next four games are huge. They're against 2 ranked teams and another team that perhaps could be really good by the end of the year. So this was a huge win. It was almost, every game's a must win. But in terms of the conference and in terms of the schedule coming up, we all would have felt pretty down on this team if they had lost this game to Rutgers and then had to go back home and play Florida Atlantic and then go to Knoxville and play Tennessee. So this is huge. Now I'm asking, you won this game. I think in the last podcast, I said that I was hoping that they'd go 3-2 over this 5-game stretch. I think it's possible they could go 4-1. I think they can go to Knoxville and win based off what they just did at the rack. I think just winning at the rack gives me some kind of hope that they can go to Tennessee and win. Hopefully they can go back home and beat Florida Atlantic on Tuesday. And, they should beat Colgate. And then the bragging rights game is always close. They're due for a win against Mizzou. And I think that they're better than Mizzou at this point. Mizzou lost to Jackson State this year. So again, I'm not trying to get too far ahead, but I am excited to see what's coming up because I was so down on this team coming into the year because of the point guard situation. But what they just did on the road in this second half against Rutgers was really, really impressive. So, I see a few of y'all are watching live here on YouTube. I'd love to know your thoughts on this team right now. Hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know a lot of people follow me for my Cubs content, which I'll be doing a lot more Cubs content on here when baseball season comes back around. But Illinois is like my second love. After the Cubs, it's Illinois. I've been an Illini fan since they went to the Final Four when I was a kid. So if you're an Illini fan and a Cubs fan, this is the perfect YouTube channel to be at. Perfect podcast to listen to, I guess, in the winter. You can listen to me in the summer and all year round on CHGO Cubs. And then obviously I'll be doing this in the winter whenever it's the baseball off season. So if you're new here and you're curious to why I'm doing this, it's because I'm just obsessed with this basketball team and always have been, always will be. Oh my God, drink. Some other things. I've talked a lot about Terrence Shannon Jr. He's just been a stud, dude. He's just been an absolute stud. But I really thought Marcus Damask had kind of a coming out party today. He's only 1 of 4 from 3, but still 15 points, 6 of 13 from the field. He had 6 or 7 boards, 2 assists. Even had a block. I thought he had a good game. He made some big shots. He had some nice, shots in the paint that went in. Excuse me. I'm celebrating with the beer. I think he's been as advertised. He's made good big plays on offense and defense. I think he's earned all the minutes that he has got at this point. I thought Luke Goody had a nice game off the bench. I thought Justin Harmon did too. Harmon was huge in the first half. Harmon went 3 of 6 from the field, including a 3. He made a 3, 4 rebounds. I thought Harmon and Goody and Danger in the first half were huge because Coleman Hawkins had a terrible first half. Honestly, if there's one player that I will criticize, it's that Coleman Hawkins just didn't really have that great of a game. I thought he made an impact on the game in the second half, but the fact that he got in foul trouble early and then basically not being able to do much at all in the first half, it was a big part on why I thought Rutgers made that comeback and made it a game before halftime. But because of Hawkins unable to be on the floor, I thought Danger, Harmon, and Goody were huge. Luke Goody, again, continues to be hot from 3. 2 of 5 from the field or from 3, 9 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. I thought he had some really good defensive plays as well. He's just a guy who goes out there and makes the right plays. To me, just screams glue guy to me. And Harmon, him and Harmon and Danger, I just thought they had really, really good games. Speaking of Danger, that dunk he had in transition off the Terrence Shannon Jr. pass, I feel like we don't see enough of that. I feel like this team wants to play fast. They want to play an up and down game. But man, it doesn't feel like they get into transition like that very often. It was just a great pass from Terrence Shannon Jr. to Danger to get that dunk. We saw a lot of that today, it felt like. So I'm encouraged about that. I hope we see more of that, especially once they get into the Big Ten season, because they're going to need that because of how Big Ten play can get. Squared Circle Squares, welcome. He says Illinois is a real team. Yeah, right now they look like a real team. The number 24 team in the country just went on the road at the rack and won. So I'm hoping that this is just the start. They got, like I said, I think they can go 4-1 in this 5-game stretch with Florida Atlantic coming up, but this was a great start to that 5-game stretch. I've been celebrating so much here this first 18 minutes. I guess we can talk a little bit about the negatives. Obviously, I've touched on the turnovers, and a big part of the turnovers is like they struggled to get the ball across half court in the first half, right? I felt like they did a lot better job against the press in the second half, but it kind of goes back to Ty Rodgers and like my non-confidence in him being point guard. Like he had 3 turnovers, and a lot of them came in the backcourt before they even got it across half court. Hell, they had a 10-second violation in the first 5 minutes of the game, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. Obviously, again, there's things they got to clean up, but who knows? Tommy in the chat says, Cody, I have to disagree with you on Coleman. He led the team with a plus 25, plus or minus. Hey, that's fair. I felt like he definitely had a better second half. And yes, Rutgers went on their run when he was off the court. That's true. I'm not necessarily criticizing him for I guess I did say he had a bad game. He had a bad first half, that's for sure. He ended up coming back in the second half and making a major impact, right? He ended up playing 26 minutes. I guess I just have higher expectations. I guess like if this team is going to be a Sweet 16 team, I feel like he's just got to be better. And so far this year, he just hasn't been very good. I know he didn't play the last handful of games due to an injury. And I hope this game in that second half propels him to start playing more consistently as we go through the rest of this non-conference schedule. I hope. And I'm confident that he's going to be a major part of the team's success going forward. I'm just being real. I just haven't been very impressed by him this year. But again, his second half was a lot better. And the fact that he was able to stay on the court, he finished the game with 3 fouls. He had 2 fouls in the first half. So the fact that he was able to stay on the floor in the second half was huge. And it was probably a bigger reason on why that they didn't collapse in the second half. So maybe again, Tommy, you're probably right. I was probably being a little bit more, critical of him when I shouldn't have, especially after a win. Maybe I'm not being more critical enough for Ty Rodgers because because of how Illinois is using him. But so maybe that's not even his fault. That's just Illinois' fault. Maybe Brad Underwood needs to figure that out. I don't know. There's a lot. I have a lot of questions when it comes to this point guard situation. Would have liked to see Gibbs Lawhorn play more. I know Moretti was out for this game, but I don't know. It also doesn't matter. I mean, TSJ is bringing the ball up the court. It feels like every possession. So I don't know. But today it didn't matter. They won by 18. So who knows? Alvin in the chat says, surprised Gibbs Lawhorn didn't get out there today. I was surprised, especially with Moretti out. We've seen glimpses of Gibbs Lawhorn play very well. So I was surprised. But 9 guys played today. They went 4 deep on the bench. I don't know. It helps that the guys that did come off the bench played well. So when you're playing well, coach doesn't want to take you out. So, again, there's things that Ty Rodgers does that makes sense to me why he's out there and why they're using him the way they're using him. But at the same time, it's like, man, sometimes he can be frustrating because he just doesn't have the shooting stroke, bro. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get that figured out before the end of the year. One guy that I haven't mentioned, and this gives credit to Illinois' defense, Omori. Cliff Omori, probably Rutgers' best player, right? 7 points, 9 rebounds, 3 of 10 from the field. I think I did actually mention him at the beginning of the show, but he didn't have a good game. He didn't have a good game at all. So I think Illinois' defense deserves a lot of credit for that. Rutgers shot 33% from the field. That's, the one of the few things that Illinois has consistently done so far this year is defend. They have been great defensively this year. Again, you allowed Rutgers to score 58 points at home. That's great. If you hold Rutgers to under 60 points on the road at their place, at their house, where they have historically played very well, I'll take it every single time. Meanwhile, Illinois shot 45% from the field, including 42% from 3. When you win by 18, there's a lot of good things, right? So I wish every game would go like this. I really do. The ups and downs of the first half were what they were, but the fact that they didn't fold in the second half, because it just felt like that it was just going to come down to a very close game at the end, going into halftime, and the fact that it wasn't was eye-opening. So, Tommy says Goody's now 40% from 3 this year. Yeah, no, he's been great from 3. And in Illinois, what was it? The stat last year, Illinois they at least led the Big Ten last year in 3-point attempts, but they were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams. So they jacked up so many threes, but didn't make any last year. This year it feels like the 3-point shot is improving over these last handful of games. They've had some games where they haven't shot the 3 ball well at all and jacked up a lot of threes. So I feel like these last 2 games, they're getting up quality 3-point shots. I don't like when they jack up 33s. And today they jacked up 21, and they were all, within the flow of the offense. 9 of 21 again from 3. It's great to see. So yeah, just an overall really good win, man. I want to be positive about this team. I want to be positive about the program. I'm a big Brad Underwood guy. I'm a big Brad Underwood stan. I think people who think that he needs to be fired are really, really out of pocket, bro. Or just haven't been watching what he has done to change the direction of this program. That doesn't mean that I don't have criticisms. It's year in and year out. This team doesn't know how to make free throws and doesn't know how to not turn the ball over. And I don't know how, free throws, I don't know how that's a coaching thing. Turn the ball over, though, that's one thing that I can say. I have to feel like, that's discipline. Coaching has to be better related to that. I don't know how you get better with that, but that's probably the biggest thing to take from this game as far as like something that they need to improve upon. Again, they didn't have as many turnovers in the second half, so that's good, but still 17 turnovers on the road, you're probably not going to win more often than not. But the fact that they shot so well from the field today and the fact that Rutgers shot well under 40% certainly helps. And Rutgers also didn't make free throws either. They were terrible at the free throw line day, 12 of 20. So Rutgers helped Illinois out for sure in terms of, Illinois' inability to take care of the ball. But that's what I'm saying. Like when they play better teams, like if they go to Mackey Arena and play Purdue and turn the ball over 17 times, probably not going to win unless Purdue has more turnovers or, Illinois shoots lights out and, Purdue shoots well under 40%. I don't feel like that's going to happen if they go to Mackey Arena and turn the ball over 17 times though. So again, it's December 2nd. Hopefully the team gets better as the season goes along every year in and year out. I feel like it's once this team gets into January, they, start to gel a little bit more. I know last year was kind of an outlier. Didn't really happen. Still made the tournament, but they were a very frustrating team. They weren't a team that people wanted to like. I want to like this team. I do. I genuinely do, especially with Shannon and Hawkins' last years here. So I hope this is a building block, man. I really do hope this is a building block. It's a really exciting win. So as far as other games, before I get out of here, I've been talking to myself for about 27 minutes. Before I get out of here, some other games around the Big Ten. We can go through them real quick. I mentioned Purdue and Northwestern last night. Northwestern won in Evanston. It was a huge win to upset the number one team in the country. Penn State lost to Bucknell today. They were like 12-point favorites. I think Penn State's going to be probably back down at the bottom of the Big Ten again with Shrewsbury leaving. I think he took the Notre Dame job. Wisconsin upsetting Marquette today. I don't understand. I don't understand Wisconsin. I don't like Greg Gard. He's fine. Would I consider him a top 10 coach in the Big Ten? No, but Wisconsin is a good program for what they are, for the types of recruits that they get. They always defend, whatever. And Michigan lost to Oregon 86-83 this afternoon. So the Big Ten, once again, just looks like it's just a mess. So this win by Illinois on the road is huge. Tommy asks, how do I feel about FAU on Tuesday? Well, obviously FAU made that huge run in the tournament last year, and they brought back a lot of their team. They're really good. They're a top 20 ranked team in college basketball. I know they lost to Bryant recently, right? But they've played well since that win or that loss, right? How do I feel going into it? Well, Illinois is at home. It's going to be a big game. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch it. I'm going to be in Nashville for the winter meetings for CSU Cubs. So I don't really know. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch most of it at least. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch a second half. They lost to Bryant back on November 18th at home, then went to Butler and won, and they beat Texas A&M after that, and then they just beat Virginia Tech, and they beat Liberty too. So they responded really well after the loss to Bryant, and they're currently playing Charleston, one of the top non-conference teams from last year too. They're in a tight game with them right now. Listen, Illinois at home against a mid-major school. What I'll say about FAU is they are very, those guys have all been playing together, and they're going to have continuity and they're going to have balance and they're going to be a tough team. But it would be disappointing to see the Illinois, lay an egg against FAU after a win like this. So I think that's the challenge here is to, celebrate this win tonight. And when you get back to Champaign, just, you got to go back to work. You got to find a way to win another game. It would be huge for the program. It'd be huge for their NCAA tournament seeding potentially down the road. FAU is top. They're number 13, I think, in the AP poll this week. So it would be a huge win. I think with Illinois being at home, it bodes well for them. So, I mean, that's basically how I feel. Right now, I'm on a high, feeling really good about the team after this win. So, we'll see. I hope Moretti is going to be available to play. I think that'll be big. I still want to see more of him play. So, I hope he's able to go on Tuesday against FAU. Yeah, I've been talking to y'all and to myself for about 30 minutes. So I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button on the video. I'd really appreciate it. I live streamed on TikTok too, on my TikTok account. So if you're not used to watching on YouTube, or if you rather watch on TikTok live, make sure you follow me over there too. Yeah, this is just this is really fun. It's fun to be able to talk about a win like this. This is huge. So I appreciate the small group we got here, and hopefully we watch it grow as the season goes along. It's been a lot of fun. Squared Circle Squares says you can't stop a freight train. Illinois for life. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So I guess I'll go ahead and get this out. Since I'll be in Nashville next week, I won't be able to do a post game or even a live watch along for that game against FAU. And then I'm actually going to be at the Illinois Tennessee game in Knoxville. So I'm not going to do any post game show for that either. Hopefully, maybe be able to do just a regular podcast when I get home. It'll be next Monday. Hopefully, when do they play after Tennessee? They play on December 17th against Colgate after the Tennessee game, which would be the week. Was that Sunday? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like a week after, right? Yeah. So maybe when I get home on the 11th or the 12th, I will do just a regular podcast kind of talking about both games and going through, and hopefully the Illinois wins both games and we can just celebrate being what would it be, like 8-1, 7-1, something like that. So if they win the next two games after this, I will undoubtedly be talking myself into Big Ten champions or something. I know I will. I'm too delusional. I get too high, I get too low. When things are bad, I get too low, and when things are great, I get too high. I need to find a way to learn how to be more in the middle. But it would be huge if they beat FAU and Tennessee, especially after a win like this. So the game at Tennessee and Knoxville will be really tough. If you want my meter on that game, I'm a little bit more scared about that game than I am FAU. It's tough to go into a Power 5 conference like the SEC on the road and win a game. Tennessee is a great defense, so I think it would be a very tight game. But we've seen I think they played really well against Wisconsin. So I don't know how to feel about that one, but I'm not trying to get too far ahead right now. I'm really focused on just trying to beat FAU at this point. So, again, huge win today, guys. Have a beer, celebrate the fact that Illinois just went to the rack and won a road game for their first road kill of the year. Oh my God. Drink. That tastes good. We're 1-0 in the Big Ten. We're 1-0 on the road. It's exciting, bro. It's absolutely exciting. So, again, oh shit! I just realized, yeah, they do play FAU at Madison Square Garden. Sorry, we've gone this entire podcast where I said that they're going to be at home. I completely forgot they were playing FAU at Madison Square Garden. Shit. Thank you, Matt, in the chat for reminding me. So it's a neutral site. So I guess I don't know what to think. I guess I'm just intrigued. It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. And right now, I'll just put it out there on record that I think Illinois wins. I think Illinois is the better team at this point, which is hard to say considering FAU has played a tougher schedule to this point. I expect FAU to be favorites in this game, but considering how well Illinois has played against the good opponents that they've faced, as in Marquette and Rutgers. I think they'll be in this game. They easily could have beat Marquette, and then they dominated Rutgers today. So, and as bad as they kind of played in some of these mid-major schools as huge favorites, they still won those games. It's not like they got upset. FAU lost to Bryant. They've had some blunders. There's other teams in the Big Ten that have had bad losses. Rutgers is one of them. I believe they lost to Princeton, which I don't know if that's necessarily a bad loss considering they're one of the best teams in the Ivy League, but whatever. Illinois has won games that they're supposed to win. As bad as some of the moments have been, as bad as they've played against some of these bad teams, they haven't lost against them. So their only loss against Marquette. So I'm optimistic that they can go to Madison Square Garden and win, just based off what we saw today and how they have played. Maybe take the over. Maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, though. I'll be in Tennessee, so I'll finally be able to bet on an Illinois game, which you can't do here in Illinois unless you're at an actual sports book. We'll see. All right. So just reiterating, make sure you hit the like button on your way out, hit the subscribe button. In the YouTube description is the link to Spotify, because I'm going to put this up, the audio version up on Spotify after I end the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends if they're looking for an Illinois podcast. This is just a fan perspective. I don't have insights with the team. I'm not best friends with Brad Underwood, even though I do have a picture with him outside beautiful historic Wrigley Field. It's just, again, I'm just here to react and tell y'all how I feel about the team. So if you enjoy that, I appreciate y'all for following along and, riding the roller coaster with me. So again, no show next week because I will be in Tennessee for work, but hopefully be able to do a podcast when I get back. So till then, hopefully Illinois wins their next 2 games and we have something to really celebrate when I get back. But yeah, again, thanks to everyone for watching. ILL.